Hey there guys, welcome to my channel. It's Flick here with a creature speed paint video. My first goal for any character sheet is to get a multi-view reference image. I then use this image for the final rendered pose. I typically start out by sketching a side view, or the 3/4 view, to get the creature's kind of perspective and figure out where everything sits on the body. When I'm happy with that side view, that's when I turn the symmetry tool on to get started on the front view. I always start with the symmetry tool first, just to get a base, and then I turn it off for final details and touch-ups. These drawings typically have little to no shading and are mainly used for that clean reference like I talked about before. This is a good point to play around with colors and get any final design elements. Once I'm completely happy with the side and front view, and maybe a back view thrown in, I'll get started on that rendered pose. The rendered pose usually has some kind of action to it, some kind of movement to it. I always try to capture more of that personality and show off that creature in a polished way. This creature that I've created here is called a Cularius. They are extremely intelligent oceanic species, and they have complex society structures. It was heavily inspired by a chambered nautilus. I did lots of research on the chambered nautilus to give the Cularius some kind of grounding in reality with their different characteristics. As you can see, design-wise, the main area that draws inspiration from the chambered nautilus is its head, but the Cularius also has many other similarities with its inspiration. Just like that, the Cularius also have very poor eyesight. In fact, I decided to get rid of their eyes altogether in favor of rhinophores. Those are the stalks that you see on their heads. And these can detect different chemical changes in the water. They sort of sense the different emotions of each other based on these chemical changes and can help identify who's a friend and who's a foe just based on their smells. These rhinophores not only help them identify, but they also communicate with other Cularius a bit. So if they can sense that all of their friends are suddenly kind of afraid, they know that a predator may be nearby. Unlike the chambered nautilus, they have ink sacs that sit on each cheek. Although they don't typically use the ink to cover their tracks and escape. Their ink just has a special chemical property to it that helps them kind of sense things out if things are hard to see. Their shells also control their buoyancy, just like the chambered nautilus. So the space in between their brain and the outer shell is empty, and they can either take on water, causing them to sink, or push out water, leaving air that lets them float. They change direction and swim around with the fins on their hands, but their head helps them go up and down. Their tails are also useful in movement as well. Typically they are used to help give them a boost when swimming, but can be used as a blunt attack if needed. They use counter shading, so that means that they are lighter underneath and darker on top. They will lay flat if they sense that there's a predator nearby, and that kind of helps them hide a little bit. Typically they are not very aggressive. Other than eating to survive, they don't go out of their way to cause bloodshed. All of their special abilities help them gather information so they can calculate what is the best course of action. The Cularius themselves, like I said before, are extremely intelligent and use found materials to make tools and structures. Think of it like an underwater Atlantis. They live anywhere between 770 meters below the ocean surface, typically in coral reefs and caves. They thrive off local tropical fish and are usually on the top of the food chain within reefs, but not so much once they get outside of the reefs. So they tend to stay within their kind of safety areas. And that's been the Cularius. I hope you liked learning about them. I hope you liked watching me paint one. If you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button, subscribe, all those YouTube things. Help support this channel, help me grow this channel a little bit. If you have an animal that you'd like me to turn into a creature like this, feel free to leave it in a comment and I'll try to get to them. I'll try to take inspiration from them. But until next time, I hope you guys enjoy your life. Bye!